are going to start. I'm also recording it so that everyone can reference it later. But we'll give folks a couple more minutes to join before we get started. So. For everyone that's already here, if you have questions already, feel free to drop them in the chat, and we'll make sure to get to them. So you can go ahead and do that now. Feel free to write where you're joining us, Zooming from, in the chat while we wait for others to join. Just gonna wait one more minute and then we'll get started. All right, so we're gonna get started. I'm gonna turn my camera off and hand it over to Seth and Jina. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm sure everyone in here is going to be really helped by all these questions, these answers to these questions. So.
Thanks, Rebecca, and welcome everyone. Gina and I have a list of questions that we are going to go through that we'll probably answer a lot of the questions that you might have. And then after we go through those, if there are additional questions or if you need further clarification, feel free to, talk to us through your camera or also in the chat. So Gina, I guess I'll just start.
Sure.
Does that sound? So the first thing or the first question that we're going to address is labeling the images. Do I need to label the images I submit in a particular way? On the call, it does give specifics in terms of like numbers of images and what kind of files the images need to be. I think the important things to think about is that the images should really help to communicate scale, material, formal qualities, and important details, and also function. So it's really helpful for the jury to have images on or with a body, so that they have idea of scale and function. When you upload your images, there's going to be an image description section where we've asked applicants to provide a description of how your intent behind the work is supported by the material, process, and formal qualities of the work. So you'll have a image description for each image that you submit, and that's a place where you can provide that information.
Yeah. Also labeling the label information of the image itself, it doesn't have like specific direction that you have to follow, but I would always add your full name and the title of the work in case it gets lost or some funky technical thing happens. Yeah, and I'm gonna go to the second question that we have. Are there specific things I should try to convey in my images? Which kind of Seth just touched on a little. My recommendation as a person looking at the portfolio, I think image is to deliver the information of your work. So things needs to be clearly documented. Any details or outlines or silhouette of it needs to be clearly communicated. So find a way to like have information delivered well. Yeah, and on the body, off the body, all those will be helpful.
Great, so I'm going to move on to the third question. Can you give some examples of a non-traditional student? So when we say non-traditional student, we're really talking about a student who is not enrolled in a 4-year or 2-year or graduate program at an institution of higher ed. We're talking about students who are pursuing like certificates in a community school. One example would be Baltimore Jewelry Center, or a guild, or a community-based educational institution where it is not degree granting, it might be certificate granting. Those are some examples of what we mean by non-traditional student. And the next question will probably give some more clarification. I'll let Jina take care of that one.
Yeah, I also wanna add that the non-traditional students, like single parents or first generations or students like who what's the word? Returning students, all that. So yes. And then the next question that I'm going to go in depth is would I qualify as a student if I take a non-certificate workshop at a craft school? So the non-certificate workshop is like part-time, could be yes, but you have to be enrolled during the like application process. Like the length of the study is kind of important. So you have to make sure that you are like continuing this study of the field. Would that answer, Seth?
Yeah, I would just emphasize that the parameters as described on the call is that you are enrolled either part-time or full-time, which I think one way to think about it is if you're taking one workshop in 1 year, that wouldn't qualify as being enrolled. I think there has to be sort of some consistency to pursuing educational opportunities to be considered a student. The next question is the funding provided prior to the course or is it a reimbursement? So this has changed over the years, but now the funds are allocated directly to the recipient of the award. The awards are announced at the conference, which is happening on in June. So the awards will be announced on June 7th, and the funds will be allocated after that. And part of the process in terms of like awardees is they do have to submit a report that sort of outlines the educational opportunity that the funds went to support, and they provide images and receipts. So that's part of sort of what happens after people utilize the funds who were awarded. Which sort of answers the next question, which is how soon after being selected is funding distributed? So like I said, I think I can't give a definitive date because it involves sort of pulling money out of a trustee fund account. But I would imagine that it's a couple weeks after that announcement date on June 7th.
Yeah, the awardees will get an email with the link that you have to follow and input a lot of requested information so you can get the check. So once the trustee gets all those informations, they're going to start processing the money moving thing. So it's going to take a couple weeks. Yeah, and it also answers the next question that we got, which was, well, what is that process like? So you get awarded, there's an award ceremony at the SNAG conference. And then after that, you're also going to get an email stating follow this link and input all the information that we need. And you're going to wait a couple weeks and then get a check addressed to you. So you can utilize the money to enroll and pursue your educational opportunities.
You want me to take it?
Uh,
I'll take it.
okay.
What can the scholarship funds be used for? So this is pretty clearly outlined in the call. The funds have to go directly towards paying for an educational opportunity, which means some kind of course, workshop where education is the key component of it. It can't be used for purchasing materials and equipment. If those materials and equipment are directly related to and required for the educational opportunity, then the funds can be used for that, but it has to be directly linked to the educational opportunity the awardee is pursuing.
I also want to add what's not covered, like examples of what you cannot use for the fund. If you're going for like workshop or any like specific place, any room and board, travel, food is not covered with that funding. Any like research that you're conducting on your own is not covered. Also, like 101 workshop sort of a thing that's not under the institution itself is not covered. Also, you cannot take any classes from profitable businesses. Yeah, and I'm the next turn. How do you define professional artist? Should art be my primary career? So the eligibility itself states that professional artist is who's not been in school, degree seeking, like art and the jury degree seeking for past 3 years. So you have to be out of school and not taking like degree pursuing classes at least 3 years. Also wanting to take a course in the any study in North America in the jewelry field. So I guess the eligibility wise, like the call is not defining like your primary career needs to be art or not. But if you want to pursue like further study as metal artist, you kind of have to prove with the portfolio materials and other things. This is kind of how I view the question.
The next question is, what makes a compelling letter of intent? I think it's really important that it's made clear like what the educational opportunity you're pursuing is and how it's meant to serve your practice. We also ask that you give some sort of context for you as a person and a maker in terms of like how your experiences have shaped and influenced your education and the kind of work that you make. So as long as you're addressing those two really important things, I think you'll have a good letter.
Yeah. Also, as a person who's been doing the selecting committee job for a couple of years, it's so helpful when applicants state exactly what kind of course like being really specific and detailed about it, like exactly what institution, which course, like those sort of detail really helps, and how it's going to be helpful to you. So instead of being like broad, like any course that I can get in, like instead of something like that, like really have a plan and give us like specifics so we can see your vision and see your plan. Next one. How many scholarships are you giving out this cycle? So each year, the committee members have meeting and go through this like the reviewing process. So we're going through your letter of recommendation, portfolio, and we do follow this rubric process and come up with these strong applicants. And then depending on who deserves this scholarship, the number of recipient can change, and also the amount of the price can change. So each year, there's no set number, but there's a set number of the total scholarship amount that we can distribute. So within that amount of money, it's really depending on the decision of scholarship committee.
Yeah, and I'll add that this year there's $10,000 total, so that $10,000 will be divided. And typically, again, it depends on sort of the group of applicants, but typically those awards range from $2,000 to $500. So, but it does depend on sort of the group of applicants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the 10,000 is for both student scholarship, student category, and professional category. So it will get divided into two and then distributed.
So that's all the questions that were on our list, and we are happy now to open it up for any of your questions. I saw that there was some questions in the chat, but I think they were ones that we covered.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? You can either like unmute yourself or drop it in the chat.
I had a question about some stuff for funding wise. And so I'm interested in doing some classes at the William Holland Lapidary School. And it's not directly metal related, but it is stone and gem related for jewelry wise. Would that work?
The content wise, the way I look at it, it is related. I would make sure those classes that you're looking is offered by like not profitable businesses. Because there are a lot of classes that students or professionals are interested in taking that seemingly like, yeah, educational opportunities, but we need to make sure that it is nonprofit educational institutions.
But if the institution is a nonprofit and it is lapidary oriented, that's fine, because it is jewelry related.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. So is there a way I can like view the application before filling it out? I was trying to like see what all the questions are and what is required of me with the letter of intent, all of that. But I can't go to next without filling all the information first. Do you have like a
Actually have a screenshot if you want to look at it. Hey, Rebecca, can I share my screen?
Yes, let me go ahead and give you permission to share your screen. Okay, give it a try.
Is this something that I can that can be sent to me, or should I just try to?
So this is the page 2. The first page is like this personal information. So you have to like fill in those. And then the second page is letter of intent. So you have to drop the file. You're not writing directly to it. So you have to like prepare your file in PDF. And then CV as well. And it kind of says what you need to include in the CV. Name, address, contact info, educational history, work history. Include any awards, exhibitions, or other scholarships you may have received. So you create these files in PDF format and you drop in there, and then it will let you go to the next step, which is this. I don't know if you can see well, but now you're like adding images, the actual portfolio files. And it's not like compiled portfolio that you upload as one thing. You have to do it work by work, like piece by piece. So you enter the work title, image number 1. You can also add detail image. Only JPEG files are available. And then image description is really important. It says, describe how your intent behind the work is supported by material, process, and formal quality of the work. So we want to hear these individual pieces and how, like, what is your intention and how it's, how you created this outcome and how it's effective. And you enter like materials, dimensions, and the year that you created. So that's kind of for one piece, and you have to have at least 4 pieces. And you can do it up to 8 pieces. So after that, it will let you like finally submit the whole thing. So you actually need kind of these 2 things to prepare. So once you have letter of intent, PDF file, CV PDF file, and images of your work, 4 of them, and information, description, you're ready to go.
This might be kind of an obvious. So I know, yes, it's jewelry, but I'm making jewelry and I'm trying to figure out ways to display my jewelry. So I'm also doing some ceramic sculpture and trying to tie the 2 of them together. Would sending images of some of my ceramic work be relevant, or should I just keep it to jewelry?
I would say that if it provides important context, then you should have images with the jewelry, but you shouldn't take up images that are just as
Cool, thank you.
And I was just gonna say, Jennifer, it's a good point about the application preview. And I'll try to make sure that like moving forward, we have like a link for an app, because it is helpful.
That's really cool because I'm an older student and I'm going to art school in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and this is what I'm doing on the artist statement, letter of intent, all of that stuff, and it's all it's I'm still at that college level, so it's like it's nice to have it provided to me like it is when I'm at school.
Yeah, I mean, even I appreciate the application.
It helps.
I'll work on making sure we have that from now on.
Any other questions?
So was that it? Once you got your image and the image description, that's all that's required on the application?
Yeah, so you say submit. Wait, no, say images are ready, and then it will have like final page that you have to agree with the like SNAG utilizing your image, like this kind of agreement section. So you have to like agree and then submit.
Is there any way you could send me that preview? Before the deadline?
Sure, I think so. Would you send me the EES email. Like there's an information email that you can have. I'm gonna drop that in the chat. When you
While Gina's looking for that, I just want to mention that this Zoom is being recorded, so we'll be sharing it via email. I'll share it to everyone that participated today, and since Gina shared her screen, you can go back and look at the Zoom to get that preview of the application as well. But we'll also share it on our social channels. But for everyone that's here, you will also get a recording of the Zoom, so you'll have all this information to refer back to.
Great.
Any other questions? I'm assuming everyone feels really good about their application.
I
Having
guess
all.
just one
Go
final.
ahead.
No, sorry. Just any further tips of what you've seen in previous recipients, letters of intent or CVs or their work, whether there's a specific jewelry focused or some sculpture involved with metalsmithing, anything at all.
Each year the committee members are it's a different group of people like gathering and looking at the applications. So each year the importance or like the focus or the outcome that the committee members are looking for are a little bit different. So it's kind of hard to say like focusing on what is more effective. But I would say have those 4 or more portfolios. Make sure it's really it shines your ability that you have. And then have the letter of intent really clearly stating what your plans are and how it's going to benefit you. Yeah, it's kind of like broad answer, but that is really what we're looking for.
Can it be like, or does it have to be like a certain like a body of work, or can I just kind of be all over with what I'm experimenting still, whether it's, silversmithing, enamels, like does it have to be cohesive as far as like exhibition?
I think it's really up to you. If being cohesive is displaying your ability at the best, I would pursue that. But if giving like different aspects or facets of practice is also like helping who you are and what ability that you have, your potential, all that, I would pursue that. So I can't really say one way or another. But the goal is the portfolio reflects your ability as a student or a professional artist. So make sure it really delivers that information.
Last call for questions. Well, thank you so much, Seth and Gina, for answering questions for everyone and taking time from your evening to do so. I guess you can actually, if you guys have other questions, I'll put my email in the chat. I'm the communications coordinator. So if you think of questions later, you can send them to me and I will find an answer for you and get back to you. I put in the chat the direct link to applying, and just a reminder, the deadline is April 15th for this. So good luck, everyone, and thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.